All right, welcome back, the Bounty Hunters,
Oh, yeah.
here on the glorious MrGarrell channel, the best Star Wars show on this channel. How's it going, everybody?
Do
Every Wednesday, 7:30 God's time, 8:30 those people's times.
Eastern.
We bring you Star Wars tonight. What are we doing, Canadian?
We're going over our favorite TV show. We're reviewing Bad Batch season 2.
Yeah, it's a bold statement, favorite. And on that note. All right, favorite show.
Here we go.
Canadian. Here we go. Bad Batch season 2 full review.
Not good.
All right, we're done.
Yes.
I will say that, I want to give Disney some credit. Here we go. Disney, I know me and you have our issues, and I have to wait 30 seconds before I start talking trash, or I'll get a copyright thing. But I'm starting to hope that Disney's incompetence isn't from incompetence; it's on purpose incompetence, because I don't know, maybe it gives you a sense of waste. The first part of this season was terrible. It was boring, and it was
first half.
Yeah, and we were we talked about how Omega. God, I can't even say her name. How Omega doesn't seem to learn lessons, and I feel like that's been a motif, and it kind of comes off as they're stretching it out unnecessarily to me. But maybe it's on purpose. Maybe it's Omega's not learning lessons. That's a waste. The Bad Batch guys are out there just struggling to make a dollar. They're basically hustlers. They're basically thugs for hire. But we know they could be better if they just do better. And every so often we'll get an episode where they show their skills. They show us to be better. And maybe that's on purpose. So that way when they finally make the decision to be better, we'll be like, hey, there you go. I just don't know if it needs to be 32 episodes to get there. Holy but Jesus. But yeah. I'm hoping, we cannot be disappointed, right? We're not able. That's the theme. That's our call to arms here at the show, is we cannot be disappointed. And so I'm just hoping that's what it is. Overall, like we were saying, just quick, dirty, nasty stuff. Omega's terrible. The ones that drag on for too long, and Crosshair is awesome. That's
he's
Crosshair
de facto the best part about this series.
Crosshair is,
which isn't a high bar by any means, but he still actually does prove to be a actually interesting character in his right.
Yeah, the best stories come with characters that struggle with where they are, who they are.
What? You might want to say that a little louder. I don't think they heard you over there in Disney World. What? That's interesting. There's a pretty famous character. They would struggle to anything, and they seem to think it's perfect. I don't know. But yes, that's true. Everyone that struggles, it makes it better, because you're either hey, you could be better, or I can't wait till they can pay that bad guy back. So yes, wanting to know what Crosshair is going to do, you're either waiting for him to be the ultimate stick by his guns ass, where you're what a jerk, he cost everyone their life, or you're ready for that redemption. But just because I'm not a nice person, I guess I'm kind of hoping he doesn't get a full redemption. I'm kind of hoping that he's still the jerk.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, he'll just kill everybody if he has to. But I don't want him to be all oh, come and give us a hug and get back on the ship. Right. I don't know if I want that.
Yeah.
I don't know if they'd stoop that low.
Well, obviously, are we going to talk about spoilers right away?
It's old news. Of course we can.
Yeah, I mean, we'll say it now. Okay, we're going to review the show. I don't even know at this point what the spoiler or not, so we will be discussing spoilers. I don't really know if this season actually had spoilers. I mean, I guess there's one big one. But
there's one, the one. So obviously, Crosshair could probably come back because they killed Tech off.
Yeah, there's one big one. I was gonna say from this point forward, don't watch if you want spoilers, but the Canadian went ahead and shot his load before the cameraman was in place.
All that means is that you don't need to watch the show. You don't need to watch the
and then the other one that was supposed to be a big giant reveal, I'm confused. I have no idea what the point of any of this has been to this point. And Dave he's gonna get me canceled because he was spoiling that for like, I don't know, 6 months now. And I was like, it can't be because it means it doesn't make sense. Kachung, I don't know where you're getting this from, but you're wrong. Like, you're dead wrong because it would mean it doesn't make sense that I've had to deal with this eye cancer that is Omega. And I'll be damned if it wasn't true. And now I'm sitting here going, what is the point of Omega? What is the point of her if she's not the only one? If she's not special, the whole point is because the person who's in charge of cloning likes her as like a daughter figure. That's her point. All of this. Okay.
Yeah, not good. It made me laugh though when Tech died. It was a good moment, but Tech dying, I was like, yeah,
it makes you laugh that Tech died.
Well, no, because I was thinking about, I'm like, of course, the entire season they only gave him character development, and they killed him, right? Because they obviously need the guy, they got the development. Which then means now that the remaining Bad Batch has like literally no development between any of them. There no growth or anything. They're all just like it's just Hunter, Rex, and Omega, and then like Echo's there, but he doesn't really want to still be there. He wants to go back to Rex and all of them. So like,
forget Echo.
Echo. Goddess. Yeah. So that's
the only thing that I would say about, like you were saying, character development is, one, I don't know if anybody who works for that company knows what that even means anymore. But that's the problem that I kind of had with that episode, because like he was somebody who was kind of had to go head to head with another tech guy
for a whole season.
We were hearing some about it, and then we went from not hearing much about him to hearing everything about him, to even the last second throwing a romantic interest in there. And as soon as that happened, I was like, oh, good Lord, are you guys, how much banner of a sign do you say something's about to happen to this guy do you need than the young hot girl going, I sure hope you come back one day? And I'm like, oh, that's, everybody knows that plane's getting shot out of the sky. Like, what is happening here? So that was kind of like, wow, I don't think we needed to do that, but yeah,
it was a bit corny, yeah.
And then definitely, so the actual finale itself, the 2-part, it was cool seeing all the different people in the summit, like Krennic being there with Tarkin, and I can't remember the other guy's name. He's the baldish one. He was in he was another one of the background characters that was in episode 4 that they used for Rogue One as well, like one of the generals. But it was cool seeing that aspect. And then also being on Eridu, like Tarkin's home world. But yeah, and then it all fell flat. Like nothing. There was no resolution or continuation. Like it literally ends on a cliffhanger of like nothing really happened. Like, are they gonna open the next season off with them breaking into the base in the first 2 episodes and rescuing them, and that's it? It's already off. Like, are they? It's a really, really strange way to have done it.
Well, I wrote in my notes, what about Crosshair? Wasn't that the whole point?
Yep. And he just lied on the table. He's like, I'm taking a nap. I ain't standing awake for this.
Well, the only thing I can think about that is, hello, Mr. Bird. The only thing I can think about that is, here's could have been a redeeming quality for her, the one that will go unnamed from this point forward. Well, I'll probably say, because I can't help but go Omega. Is if we find out later she was like, oh, let me get captured because it's that old like Western. I'll go to jail so that way we know where the jail is. And so now you kind of know where the jail is, kind of thing. Like maybe there's something to that. Like Omega gets arrested because now they know, because they didn't know where he was. So maybe somehow they'll find a way to track her so they know where both of them are.
Oh, yes. I almost forgot a cameo. Like Saw Gerrera popping up out of nowhere.
Oh, Saw.
Old
Right.
Saw, ready for some terrorism.
The only thing that was good about that, like I saw some of these pretenders to the throne of the Star Wars people who go on YouTube and just don't quite hold people's feet to the fire because you never know when I'll get something good out of them. And they were really throwing a fit about the Saw Gerrera situation, how silly it was. The only thing good about the Saw Gerrera thing is that he didn't give a crap that these guys are like, hey, our people are here. You got to stop. And he was like, hey, that sounds bad on you. Peace and I'm out. Hit the button. Like that's definitely how he would act.
Really, just right there. He's like, yeah, no, not my problem.
And they were like, because the people I was watching a review are like, that doesn't make any sense. The bigger picture is like, Saw Gerrera's never been a bigger picture person. He's like, murder him when I see him. That's what I do. I murder when I see him.
I'll kill them now. We sort it out later.
Yeah. And they were like, I just didn't make any sense. I'm like, it actually is the only thing that made sense. That's the only character that played his part perfectly. He was like, I'm here. I'm blowing the building. You better run. I'll give you a count of 2, and then we're hitting the button. Like, go. Like, I'm going. Like, he was perfect. But yeah.
I think Echo was the MVP.
Echo confuses me because could you just trade him for a droid? Like, honestly, because they don't seem to use him except for his arm attachment. And I feel like in Star Wars, whenever somebody would go, R2, get the door, and he'd walk up there, zip, 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 or Chopper. Yeah. That's what he is. He's just a droid. He's like, hey.
Which is funny because they have a gonk droid there, but obviously gonk droid doesn't have the arms. So they can't use him.
He sticks it in the hole, and he's like, and he opens the door. I'm like, he's just a droid. Replace him. But I guess he's a fast-moving droid, so that's good. Like, he can run.
Yeah.
So that's good.
Fleshy droid.
If
I feel bad for him, that's basically all he was.
I know we talked about this, I think, in the first season, but you compare them to Task Force 99. Mick or Mike, I don't know. I think it's Mick. He's the computer system splicer guy. He's basically the equivalent of Echo.
But worse.
So what was, I guess, while we're getting our thoughts ready for final stuff, I guess, because that's kind of where I'm going. Because I'm
like,
still
it's hard to say. Like this season, like we've already talked about the best of the season early on our episodes, like the middle of it, the crosshair stuff. The ending, the last 3 to 4 episodes really didn't go anywhere. They didn't really land. They all felt pretty flat. So it's hard to really talk about them in any capacity. Because they were the same bad as we always talked about before.
They were flat enough that when we discussed doing the show, we were like, maybe we just do the whole season 2 now and just get it over with, because I don't even really know what to say in the last 3. I mean, they weren't terrible, but it was like it didn't really.
They're
you
bland.
can tell that story in 30 seconds. Like, you don't need.
Yeah, that 2-episode finale could have been 1 episode, and the other episode could have been them probably what they're going to be doing for the opening of the next season.
I remember telling you that I realize now, after I watched like 3 or 4 in a row, that I spent a lot of my time fast forwarding because every episode's a chase scene. And so they're like running around corners, sliding, diving, shooting people, and it's the same chase scene. And I'm like, okay, I've seen them run from people through corridors like 100 times. And I end up hitting the fast 10 seconds, or fast 30 seconds or whatever, like through the chase scenes, because nothing ever happens during them. They're just like, oh, turn left. Oh, we got to make that door, dive in the door. And they're like, and then the other team drives through the door and they're like, everybody okay? Okay, good. And I'm like, yeah, that was just 45 seconds. I didn't need it, honestly. Like, I didn't really need that. And it happens like every episode. And I was like, and that seemed to be what a lot the last 3 episodes were, just stuff like that, where it was like, it was fine. It wasn't terrible. It's just that I don't know if it needed to be a 30-minute episode.
So what you're saying is you haven't watched them fully.
Well, I've watched. Oh, well, no, I guess not. I will forever almost watch them all.
What that means is when season 3 comes out, you will have to binge both season 2 in its entirety.
All right, and then I guess the thing that my favorite episode, I mean, there's that one.
What are you doing? What are you doing? We're going to ranking system here, bud.
Are you gonna rank them? Are we gonna really do that?
Top 5 episodes.
I don't know top 5. Okay, I'll just go.
That's fine. You can do the one. You can save your one.
I'm gonna steal your guys' top 5 because I don't know what top 5 episodes are.
It's not a hard list. It's not a hard list.
Average them.
So Yeah, go. Do you want to go ahead first, Kachun?
Oh, sure.
You're the most prepared, so.
So I don't know if I said it on one of our streams. I definitely said it backstage about Emery, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But I knew. I certainly knew.
I knew all along. No one believed me. No one believed me.
He basically said, "Get on my level, bitches." I knew since the beginning. You guys are all suckers.
As soon as she came into the show, yeah. So my number 5 was episode 12, The Outpost.
Okay.
I really enjoyed that.
I'm judging this based on where I'm.
I am now very concerned, given that was number 5. I don't know where.
I'm watching this based on the Canadian's face, and that reveal right there, it looked like he just ate a rotten apple or something. I'm interested now. It's going to be more interesting just watching the face of the reveal of.
I like the other characters, Hex and Veach and Mayday.
I like that episode.
There wasn't a whole lot of Omega either.
That's key.
Yes.
Find me the 5 episodes that had least amount of Omega, and I wonder if that is my 5 best. I probably
might be.
All right, what is your number 5, Canadian?
My number 5 was an episode off. It was episode 11, Metamorphosis.
Okay.
Okay.
That was my number 6. It didn't quite make it.
Oh, I'm really concerned now. What you put. I'm really concerned what you put for your
nice.
Yeah, Metamorphosis. I probably liked it out of the other episodes. That was probably one I enjoyed. Just enjoyed. It was a fun scene in the Xylo Beast. A little bit of action there, and the commandos.
Yeah,
could have been better, but at the very least, it was just a fun episode. It actually did something good. Especially, it was actually really fun watching them go through the ship and kind of like the horrorness to it.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah. Craig, what do you think is better?
Kachung, what's your next one?
I was just say another thing about the Outpost was that was the first episode with Emery in it, so it was kind of like.
Was it the first episode with her?
Yeah,
I thought she'd been there for a while.
She was in season 1. The end of season 1.
Wait, was she?
Yeah, she was.
I think that was the first time she.
I think she's always just a background character. That might have been the first time she's put forward. Maybe.
Yeah, she came.
Yeah, I guess
Hemlock came into it, and I don't know if you noticed when Crosshair was in the avalanche, he lost his helmet, and I don't know if he got. I'm hoping he didn't get it back because I mean he lost it in an avalanche.
Yeah, no, he didn't grab it. He wasn't carrying it out.
That doesn't mean he won't get it back.
My fourth favorite was Clone Conspiracy, episode 7.
Oh, that's funny. Clone Conspiracy, okay.
Very cool episode.
Why? What did you like about Clone Conspiracy?
There was no Omega. It was the first one in the season without Omega.
It's already going up my list mentally.
Slick was that assassin. He was really cool.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just started going down a rabbit hole about, what happened to the clones. And I thought that maybe Palpatine turned them into Dark Troopers or something.
Yeah.
All right. Canadian, what was your number 4?
Not hard to discuss now. Clone Conspiracy as well.
Nice.
We actually share one.
I thought it might be just because he smirked instead of had this look of shock on his face. So I thought maybe that could be.
I liked it as well. I thought it was the middle of the season. It was the 2-parter. Great open to it. I love the mystery, the intrigue, action. Everything was great about the episode. It was probably. Yeah, it was definitely the highlights of the season and of the animation in general.
Yeah, and if I don't say I like it, then there's a problem because I say I always like seeing what the normal people are doing, not the people running around with laser swords and guns and ships. But that gave you a lot of that, just what's happening on the ground. What are people like talking about at a bar? So yes, I would agree that episode was really good for me. I don't know how it fit for the average Joe on the streets, but. All right, let's get the Canadians. Let's get your number. Wait, no, I want the reaction. Never mind. Kachung, what's your number 3? I want the reaction from the face.
Here.
Number 3? So number 3 was for me was the second last episode, the summit.
Look at that face.
So that was the episode that was in there that I was confused about.
This is the one that you're
Although-
like, there's one that doesn't belong. He found the one that he thinks
It
doesn't
was
belong.
that moment with Tick and his girlfriend. It was super awkward. But I loved seeing Tarkin, Krennic, and their project. What was it? Stardust? Is that what it was?
Stardust, yep, the Death Star.
Project Stardust. Hemlock's in it. I think he's pretty neat.
He's definitely a really cool character they introduced. I do like him. The idea of this kind of like mad scientist who was like, we didn't talk about him much at all, but yeah, he's one that was probably they should have introduced him at the beginning of the season.
He should be the big bad, in my opinion, a bad batch. He
should have had him there right away. He's literally experimenting on clones, and the whole show's about the clones trying to get like their.
He has first of all, he has an amazing actor doing it. I'm not sure who does it, but he's good.
I was gonna say his voice sounded very distinct, like
and also he has when things are blowing up around you, or you have like Tarkin there, and we all know he's like third, maybe even second, depending on what you know of the Empire and what you don't know of the Empire as far as the average person. Tarkin's high up there, right? He's got the Emperor's ear. And the fact that he can basically say, like, you're not doing something right, he's basically like, easy, baby. I got this. Like, don't worry about me. You worry about you. The fact that he had that kind of like air of like he is not concerned about his job or what this person has to say makes him really cool. And like you were saying, I feel like he should have been, unless he's gonna be the full focus on the next season. If they ever have another season, I don't think they've actually announced it yet, but if they have another one, at least he's gonna be the full one. All right, so what's your next one? Since I'm assuming it's not going to be the summit based on that look on your face.
It's one Kachin already talked about. It's the Outpost.
The Outpost.
Wow.
Yes. I like that a lot. I thought that was, again, crosshair episodes are the best. And that one was a lot of fun seeing this, like, this desperate point of view of the clones that are, like, trapped there, having to basically protect their replacements' gear. And at the same time, that was the turning point for Crosshair where he snapped. That was a fantastic moment.
Yeah.
Definitely, probably that easily. I knew as soon as that episode was out, I was like, that's gonna be my top 3.
I would say I'm not 100% sure because I don't have them all like in my head like you guys do. Like this is that episode, but I did write down before we start talking G.I. Joe episode because I said that guy reminded me of a G.I. Joe, so I know that is now the Outpost is G.I. Joe's episode. And so that's probably would be, I'm assuming, a top 3. I really like that one. I thought it was really good, just not just for the actions going in there, but like overall, like you just said, what it means, like the fact that they're still being good soldiers, knowing that they're being phased out and knowing that they're not really cared about anymore. So all right, we're on number 2. Good Chong, hit us.
Yep. Episode 3, Solitary Clone.
Wrong choice.
What did you like about it?
I mean, it's so long ago now. It's hard to really remember specific points, but yeah, I mean, I just remember it being.
It was the first episode ever without Omega. Ever.
That's true. Yeah, because I don't have any notes for it. All I have is the grade I gave it, which ended up being the second best grade. So,
all right, let's see if the Canadian remembers because he's got that weird.
I have my memory for this. It's okay.
Okay, so what is your number 2? Because I don't think it's this one. So what is your number?
It's a Solitary Clone.
Oh, okay.
I just wanted to mess with you.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah, no. It was really good. It's the first time seeing Crosshair like after the finale and like him still being devoted to the Empire, seeing how he's treated in that aspect.
Right.
And put alongside Cody, a fan favorite who we've been always wanting to see.
Right.
Post Order 66, we wanted to see him. And having that nice contrast between the two of them, where they're both still working under the Empire, both have their own ideas of what the Empire is and what it should be, and then at the same time interacting with separatists still from the past, and overall having some of the best action of the season.
Yeah.
Makes
Their The conversations with one another were good.
Yes, that was even if there wasn't any action in this episode, I think that would still be high on the list just for them talking to each other and the moments like standing in front of the wall of names where they're just at the end of the episode.
That was neat.
Crosshair constantly not getting his food because he keeps getting called upstairs. That's pretty good. But yeah, I would say it's easily up there as like one of the best, like even better Clone War episode if you were to count it as that. So yeah.
I was thinking that was probably my favorite. So now I'm wondering what number one is.
Well, not hard to pick, right?
Because I really like that one. Just
now I'm hopeful.
You want to do simultaneous?
Yeah, well, it's gonna be the same thing, I assume.
Well, that's what I'm hoping, right? All
right, so let's go. Same time. 3, 2, 1, reveal.
All right, cool.
Truth and consequences.
We're finally on the same page. That was the second part of the middle of the season.
You guys have been most of the same page except for like number 5 or whatever.
It was him choosing the summit over on Metamorphosis, and then the summit being a different, and then that being a different place of each other.
Yep.
Yeah, here, let me pull this up too, so you guys can.
Truth and consequences. All right. So, what do we like about Truth and Consequences?
Well, Palpatine introduced the Stormtrooper program.
Very cool. The whole outsmarting them, even though they were going ahead, breaking into the Star Destroyer, doing all this. Seeing Mazamata and Admiral Rampart doing their just sneakiness behind the scenes, telling him that like you're gonna get in trouble if you don't get this right. But ultimately, in betraying him and Palpatine's clever connivingness to actually turn everything around. Like when that moment came up where they showed the Star Destroyer destroying Kamino, I literally sat there going, "Wow, that's really surprising they actually did that. How the hell is that gonna get turned around? Like, there's no way in my mind that like the Senate doesn't go into an uproar." And then when Palpatine came out and said what he said, it was so clever.
Yeah.
It was so good. I was grinning ear to ear when I saw that moment.
Oh, I was grinning even more. The best joke of the season was in this episode when Chuchi asks Omega, "Can you keep a secret?" I was just in hysterics because I knew the answer.
No.
In case anybody's wondering, Kachung knew the answer the whole time. In case anybody hasn't forgotten
the whole time. I knew it.
Well, the other aspect was, when Chuchi was looking around, look at the whole team, a Bad Batch, and it gets to Omega and the camera just pans down like this.
Hello.
Yeah, so I didn't forget. I just didn't know the name of it, but obviously, I don't know. I'm sure I should know. I'm kind of a loser for not remembering who wrote. Like, I want to know who wrote the lines, who wrote that plan out, like the word for word writing, not who was the idea guy who threw it up on a board. Because to me, just the way Palpatine responded to that, carried himself in that situation was absolutely brilliant. Like, I don't even know if you could do that with a live actor. Like, that was just the way he did it was phenomenal. And it actually made me upset a little bit looking back on it when me and him were sitting before the show talking about it. And I was thinking about that episode thinking that is what they're capable of, right?
Yeah.
That harkens back to Clone Wars. And instead we still have these episodes that mean nothing. And it's just for Omega to like be being silly and being a little kid, which is fine. But it's even means less now when you find out that she's not even special. There might be 50 of them. We have no idea how many there are. There's more than one. So it's like, it makes it even more ridiculous that we've been doing all this seemingly for no reason. It's kind of, I mean, you guys see where they land the plane, obviously. You don't want to be like completely negative. But what I will say is my good feels I have for Star Wars. Now I know that they're not watching anymore. And what I mean by them, I mean the robots, because clearly no one from Disney's actually watches the show. But all the good feels that I was having, getting over some shenanigans, just to find out that here lately that all the shows are trying to find a way to connect this whole world back to I don't know what they're called. What are they called? The after the sequel trilogies or whatever they're called. Those abominations of movies, and they're trying to find a way to get it back. It seems like all of them are trying to find a way to piece together their part in the how do we get this guy cloned with special forces, and he's basically a magician, and how are we going to do this? It's really bothering me. And I was reminded of this clip that I clipped before it started. And it goes well with what he's been doing this whole time, which is kind of spiking the ball over and over and over again. So let's just watch this clip real quick.
Because that's supposedly where they
clone Snoke.
Yeah. So
I didn't want to get anyone angry.
Oh man.
Okay, so this is my point. I don't think this was supposed to be what it was. I really don't. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense on either show that, well, maybe a little bit on the Mando show, but it doesn't seem to make sense to me because it doesn't make sense the where we're going. It doesn't make sense they made Omega such a huge focal point. I mean, there could always be something we don't know. She might burst into the power of 1,000 suns and shoot rays out of her ass. I have no idea. But we're assuming that all this was just so we can find a way to blackmail the genetics expert to get the plan down the road farther. It's just weird to me. And I was hoping for more. If I have to constantly hear that voice making my ears bleed every time I watch the Bad Batch, that at least it was for a reason. I'm a little disappointed in that. Like, it brought my whole level of the season down. Like, just the ending, because the ending was so like I'm okay. Omega, that voice. I'm like, okay, move her out of the way. And then let's get to Crosshair. Let's get to this, get to that, and then for it to be like, I know because of sister. And I'm like, oh no. But overall, it was fine. Like, it wasn't a bad. Like, it's what his Bad Batch is. Like, it's good.
Bad Batch bitch fest. Classic.
Yeah, it's good. It ain't great. It should be better. They have the talent. I mean, there are some, when I was looking for clips, if I want to do clips, there are some moments where the art is ridiculous. Like, the art on some of those like scenes are just silly good. Yeah. They have the art talent. They have the writing talent when they want to. I just feel like because it doesn't make sense. And if you wanted to go there originally, I feel like you could have done it in a better, more thoughtful, more interesting way than the way they're doing it, which seems very like rushed and forced in. And I feel like it streams to me of like at least a little bit of meddling from the top. Like, hey, don't forget we're supposed to land the plane. Hey, don't forget we're supposed to land the plane. Okay, I'll get this episode in there. That's kind of felt like to me. Maybe I'm crazy, but overall, though, you guys give a score, or you just overall say what you thought about it?
I have a score. I'm sure Kachin does too.
All right, let's hear yours, Canadian, since you went first for everything else.
Oh, absolutely. So I would say a 4 out of 10.
Ooh, that seems low. Okay.
I don't know, because the first season I don't remember where he scored it, but I know for a fact this season had. So what this season had over the first season was the Crosshair episodes and the 2-episode middle of the season were all very good.
But you ranked. How does that add up? You ranked so many that were 8 or 9, right?
What?
Like your top 5 were at least 8 or 9.
Yeah, but out of 16 episodes, when 4 of them are like top tier, 1 is like good, and the rest are all really down. That drags that total. I divided 16 by 4, and it gave me 4. So 4 out of 10.
I had to guess. Let me see if I can guess. I would say 6 is probably a solid, decent, not too harsh score.
5 is literally 5 is fine. 5 is good, middle of the road.
Kachung, because he cannot be disappointed. I'm gonna guess a 7 to a 7.5.
6.5. 6.5.
All right. What did you rate it there, Kachung?
I rated the first season 5.
Okay.
The second season 6.5.
Oh,
there we go, baby!
Fair.
Here we go.
Oh, that's fair. I thought he was gonna give us a little bit of nostalgia bump to a 7.
Yep.
No nostalgia here to bump it up.
There
I
was
think
some
I'm right in the
awful-
middle. I would think just because of how good the good was, and maybe it's because I'm desperate. I'm a dying man in the desert. Both suns are beating down on my face. I just want a drink of water. And somebody came by and just squirted me really quick with water, and I'm lapping it up as much as I can. Just because the 2-3 episodes were so good and they're exactly what I want in Star Wars, like, just to be self-serving a little bit. I think I have to give it a 6. Like, I don't know if I can go lower than that just because of those episodes. Well, depends on what they do with the rest of it. If it's going the way it's going to go down again. But 6 as of right now.
Another reason to watch that episode, The Summit. Look at I know cartoons don't have camera angles, but camera angles, I guess if you can call it that, were actually really cool. Almost like, how the old Batman show had, whenever there was a villain on screen, it was crooked.
Yeah, candid angle.
Yeah.
Dave said he don't know who the camera guy was, but damn it, he was on point with them spots. Cinematography was amazing.
Yeah.
I feel like Canadian. I feel like you thought my score was a little higher than you were expecting.
Way higher than I thought. Way higher. I think season 1 I might did 3 if I'm not mistaken. That's why I did the 4. But yeah, I'm surprised you put it in the good because you were so apprehensive about doing this, and you were like, "This is horrible. This is the worst thing ever. I hate Star Wars now because of this." And you're like, "A 6. A 6 is good."
Yeah.
Yeah, but for me, I don't think a 6 is great though because it's Star Wars, and so you get like if this wasn't a Star Wars show, it'd probably be like a 4 or a 5. If this wasn't a Star Wars show, you get an extra bump. That's what I'm saying. If next season it's clear they're going full blown, we're here to get the old man into the clone. That's the whole reason for this show. Omega's not important. She is just somebody's buddy. She's just somebody's child. That's what they look at her. Then this season probably will get bumped down to a 5 because I'm hoping that there's something more interesting happening next season to answer some of these like very
with Emery, right? She has a far more interesting backstory.
I don't know. To me, Emery should have got punched in the throat the moment she revealed herself. Omega should have been on her like a spider monkey because that means you're like the ultimate sellout. You're one of them, and you're allowing your brothers and sisters apparently to be like research.
Well, apparently, because who knows?
That's what complicates it.
So we'll see. We'll see what the story is, but like
so
the fact that the Omega should be kicked out of the gang. Like if this is gang life, she gets jumped out of the gang because she didn't handle her business whenever the other person said, "Yeah, I'm actually one of you." She should have immediately just punched her right in the mouth, and then I would have respected Omega. Like, tell me if she didn't go, "You're one of us," yes, sister, and then when she reached for her, she just right in the mouth, just nailed her. I would have been like, "Oh, Omega!" I would have been like, "Oh," my whole thought process of you has turned around, but instead she was just like, and then it was like, fade to black. Like,
but there are moments where she's in it and you don't know if she's like a good guy or a bad guy.
Yeah.
Undercover.
Yeah, underground. 2 things I will say. I got tired of the voice of reason always being Omega. Like, but they're people too, aren't they? Like, we have to help them. It was just getting obnoxious.
Why would you care about Echo? Echo's over there all alone. We don't know.
You're a child, okay? You're a child. Like the grown folks are talking. I've murdered 342 people. You haven't even hit 1 arrow shot. So let's you go sit down and be quiet. But here's what anybody who's ever watched this. There's like one person that's watched these shows. Anybody who's ever watched these shows, what they want to know is that moment when that lady said, "I'm one of you," and called her a sister. What did Kachung say at that exact moment?
I knew it.
I stood up and I yelled. I fucking knew it. And my wife was in the room and she looked at me weird. Like,
yeah. That's definitely a look at you weird moment if you do something like that. If you scream, I knew it.
It didn't. No emotion was run out of me. All I sat there thinking was, Kachun's gonna bring this up immediately.
Yeah, my son looked at me really confused. He goes, "Wait, what does that mean?" And I said, "What does that mean? This is exactly what happened." He goes, "Wait, what does that mean?" He said, "What does that mean?" That means I'm gonna hear I was right. Come on Wednesday. On Wednesday, I'm about to hear I told you so. Well,
Did
I
you
think
see the
that's
poster I made?
Is that the review?
Yeah. That's the Bad Batch Bitch Fest Part 2. Tune in for Part 3 when they eventually do a Season 3, when we are
Hopefully.
sick
They
of
haven't.
it.
Usually they greenlight those things while the season's going, but that hasn't happened.
Well, you know, if they greenlit Book of Boba Fett Season 2, we're getting a Season 3 of Bad Batch. So
That's
You
true.
cannot be disappointed. Listen, the problem though is I don't know. We'll get a season 3. We'll see what goes on.
Yeah.
We have to, right? We have to get a season 3. We got to finish that. If they don't, they'll wait like 5 years and then they'll do a like 2-part episode to like finish the story or whatever. But
we'll get a movie. We'll get a theatrical release.
You know what we might get that could be awesome? Let's just dream a little bit in the future. Maybe we can say what we think might happen. We might get a half of a season where there is no Omega because she's locked in a prison cell. And
You
our
know,
boys
100% each of those episodes is gonna flash to her every time.
Okay, don't do that. I'm over here dreaming, and you're like slapping me with a cold rag. Why
Because
are
your
you doing
dream's
that?
a nightmare. It's gonna be a nightmare.
So, do you have any idea what could be? Any guesses, especially the one down here who's always right? Do we have any guesses what could be happening next season?
Well, hopefully they find Crosshair. 'Cause that was the whole point.
Crosshair is going. Well, okay. I don't know when they plan to do this, but there's gonna be the Clone Rebellion at some point because obviously Rex has to goes into hiding with the other commanders.
Yep.
So is the
Is that
rebellion
confirmed?
next season?
That is confirmed that at some point there was a clone rebellion. At some point,
apparently so.
Okay.
And a factory where they take chips out.
So we'll obviously see at some point that is it gonna be the next season? We said that about this season. Now the my only other theory is that Crosshair is going to die next. He'll be the next one to die. There's no way they can let the other cool one live.
Tech somehow survived but mutilated. And
I would actually turn the TV off if Tech survived. I would turn it off.
He's gonna be some Power Ranger riding mod creature.
Half unicorn, half robot.
I will
only
refuse
one
to
to me
review
that I
the
could
rest of the
see-
season if he survives.
To me, every single one of them needs to die. Every single one of them,
Yep.
except for maybe the leader guy, because he could because the sensory and him kind of having a spider sense or whatever. I feel like maybe he could go into hiding, and maybe he's so depressed because all of them die that he just goes and lives like as a miner or something. I could possibly see him.
You know, if
But
everyone dies in this team, he's not going to hide. He's putting the blaster in his mouth, and he's
Well, they're not going to do that on Disney Plus.
No.
But Wreckers, he sticks out too much. People would know who he is immediately.
Yep.
Tech, he's a freaking Greek tragedy. For God's sakes, he has to die. Like he's lost his humanity and everything else. You got to let him go at some point. And I don't think they'll do anything with Omega. I think Omega her final story will probably be unknown just so they could bring her back out if they want to for something else. Because I think that's what Disney would do. I think they would do something like that. Well,
she'll just disappear.
Yeah, you just won't know what happened to her. That's my guess. I don't know if we'll ever even get that far into it. They might just have the last episode where the ship blows up and we don't know anything or something. But I think that's it. So thanks everybody for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed it.
My poster I made for you.
Apparently you think you have friends, but you don't. They're just here to make you freak out more. So you guys have a great night, and thanks for watching.